As the years add chapters to our story, few things sting more than feeling unseen, unheard, or dismissed by those around us. Whether it's a brusque cashier, a well-meaning neighbor who crosses the line, or even a family member who forgets that experience comes with age, disrespect can erode our sense of peace and confidence. But what if, instead of letting their words or actions unsettle you, you could meet rudeness with quiet strength, poise, and self-assurance? In the pages that follow, you'll discover 9 proven ways to reclaim your dignity and protect your well-being. From harnessing the power of silence and the silent stare, to reminding yourself that respect always begins within, to choosing companions who truly value you. Each strategy is rooted in wisdom, born of a lifetime's worth of lessons, and designed for seniors who know that tranquility and self-respect are treasures worth guarding. Ready to learn how to turn someone else's negativity into your moment of calm mastery? Let's begin. 1. Embrace the silent stare. There's a certain kind of power that comes with age, one that isn't loud or flashy, but deeply rooted in wisdom and experience. And sometimes, the strongest statement you can make in the face of disrespect is no statement at all. That's where the silent stare comes in. It's a quiet, steady look that says more than 100 words ever could. It's not confrontational or aggressive. It's simply a calm reminder that you are not easily shaken, and that your self-respect remains intact no matter how someone else behaves. When someone interrupts you, dismisses your opinion, or makes a rude comment, it's natural to want to defend yourself. You might feel the urge to snap back or explain why you deserve better treatment. But often, reacting only gives them what they want: your attention, your energy, your frustration. Instead, imagine locking eyes with that person, staying composed, and saying nothing at all. That silence can be far more unsettling than any verbal comeback. It puts the focus back on them and forces them to reflect on their own behavior. Most people are not used to that kind of mirror being held up to them. I remember a family dinner a few years back. A younger relative made a sarcastic remark about a story I was sharing, something that meant a lot to me. The old me would have tried to explain why the memory was important, or maybe even left the table feeling hurt. But this time I paused, set down my fork, and looked them in the eye. I didn't frown or glare, I just held their gaze, calmly and steadily. The room got quiet. That relative's smirk faded, and they looked away. I didn't need to say anything. In that moment, my silence said it all. You may not respect me right now, but I will always respect myself. The silent stare is not about winning or dominating. It's about choosing your energy wisely. Not every battle needs to be fought. Not every comment deserves your time. At this stage of life, peace becomes more valuable than proving a point. And protecting that peace sometimes means saying less, not more. As older adults, we've seen enough of life to know that actions and presence often speak louder than words. When you respond to rudeness with quiet strength, you set the tone. You remind yourself and others that dignity doesn't need to shout. It simply stands firm. So the next time someone tries to challenge your worth with their words, don't rush to react. Instead, take a breath, meet their gaze, and let the silence speak for you. In that pause, you reclaim your power, and you walk away knowing you stayed true to yourself. That's not just handling disrespect, that's mastering it with grace. 2. Use silence as your answer. There's a deep strength that comes from knowing when not to speak. Silence, when used wisely, becomes more than the absence of words. It becomes a message of calm self-control and unwavering self-respect. Especially in our later years, when peace of mind matters more than proving a point, silence can be one of the most powerful responses to disrespect. When someone makes a rude comment, ignores your opinion, or speaks to you with impatience, They may be trying to provoke you, to rattle your confidence, or to pull you into their negativity. But when you meet that behavior with silence, you take away their power and keep your own. Silence is not weakness. It is a choice, a deliberate decision to rise above behavior that doesn't deserve your energy. Most people who treat others poorly expect a reaction. They want to see anger, hurt, or confusion. That gives them control. But when you say nothing, when you simply hold yourself with quiet dignity, they're left to sit with their words alone. The longer the silence stretches, the heavier their words become. What once felt like a jab suddenly feels awkward, even foolish, when met with no reply. A moment comes to mind when I was standing in line at a pharmacy. The person behind me, clearly in a hurry, muttered something about old folks taking forever. Years ago, I might have snapped back or felt the need to explain myself. But this time, I said nothing. I didn't turn around. I didn't flinch. I stood tall, looked forward, and let the silence grow. It only took a few seconds before they shifted uncomfortably, then fell silent themselves. I walked out feeling calm, not because I won anything, but because I refused to let someone's impatience disturb my peace. The beauty of silence is that it gives you room to breathe and think. It keeps you from reacting in ways you might regret and helps you respond, if needed, on your own terms, in your own time. And sometimes it reminds others that not everyone is willing to be drawn into drama or disrespect. It sets a quiet boundary that says, I choose peace over conflict. I value my time and energy. As you age, you understand that your inner world is sacred. Not everything needs to be addressed. Not everyone deserves an answer. You have the right to guard your calm, to walk away from nonsense, and to say more with silence than most could ever say with words. So, the next time someone disrespects you, don't rush to react. Instead, embrace the quiet. Let it be your response, your armor, and your strength. In that stillness, you'll find clarity, and you'll remind yourself that your dignity speaks louder than any insult ever could.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
Third, stop explaining your choices. As we grow older, one of the greatest freedoms we can embrace is the freedom to live without over-explaining ourselves. By the time you reach your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you've made a lifetime of decisions, some wise, some challenging, and all part of your journey. You've earned the right to choose how you spend your time, where you go, what you believe, and how you live, without feeling like you need to justify every step to others. Yet many of us, especially those raised with strong values of politeness and service, fall into the habit of over-explaining, trying to convince others that our choices are valid. But here's the truth. They already are. You don't need to explain why you've downsized your home, turned down an invitation, chosen to stop driving at night, or started spending more time alone. These are your decisions, made with the wisdom and experience of a life well lived. When someone asks, "Why didn't you come to the event?" or "Why don't you do it like you used to?" you don't owe them a long explanation. A simple response like, "Because that's what feels right for me," is more than enough. I remember a turning point in my own life when I decided to stop hosting holiday gatherings. For decades, I had been the one to organize, cook, decorate, and bring everyone together. It brought me joy, but also exhaustion. As I got older, it became harder to manage. When I finally decided to pass the torch, I expected understanding, but instead I got questions. Why now? Aren't you going to miss it? Who's going to do it if you don't? At first, I felt guilty. I explained my health concerns, my fatigue, my need to rest. But the more I explained, the more I realized I was trying to get approval I didn't need. Eventually, I stopped. The next time someone asked, I simply said, "I've done it for a long time, and now I need to do what's best for me." That was it. No more justification. And for the first time, I felt at peace with my decision. Over-explaining often comes from a desire to be understood or accepted. But as we age, we realize that not everyone will understand. And that's okay. What matters is that you understand yourself. Living authentically means making choices that honor your needs, your values, and your well-being, without needing a stamp of approval from others. The people who truly care about you won't demand explanations. They'll respect your decisions because they respect you. So the next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, pause. Ask yourself, do I really need to? Chances are you don't. A calm, confident statement is all it takes. Trust that your choices are enough because you are enough. And that's all the validation you'll ever need. 4. Keep your distance. One of the most empowering things you can do as you get older is to become selective about who you allow into your personal space, both physically and emotionally. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not every friendship needs to be maintained. Not every friendship needs to be maintained. Family or otherwise is worth the cost to your peace of mind. As you age, your time becomes more precious, your energy more limited, and your desire for meaningful, respectful interactions more important than ever. That's why sometimes the best way to handle someone who consistently disrespects you isn't with confrontation, but with distance. Keeping your distance isn't about punishing someone or holding a grudge. It's about choosing yourself. It's about recognizing that certain people bring more stress than joy, more criticism than support, and more chaos than calm. If someone routinely dismisses your feelings, criticizes your choices, or makes you feel small, then you're not obligated to keep them close. You have every right to step back, to limit contact, and to create space for relationships that nourish rather than drain you. There was a friend I had known for many years who never seemed to celebrate my successes or listen with sincerity when I spoke. Every conversation left me feeling unheard and undervalued. I used to make excuses for her behavior. Maybe she was having a bad day, or maybe she didn't realize how she came across. But the truth is, it was a pattern. And one day I realized that I didn't have to keep investing in a relationship that didn't invest in me. I didn't confront her or burn any bridges. I simply stopped reaching out, stopped saying yes to every invitation, and allowed the relationship to fade naturally. The result? I felt lighter, more peaceful, free. This kind of boundary setting is not selfish. It's healthy. You're not cutting people off because you're angry. You're stepping back because you value your peace. You've spent decades building your life, learning who you are, and understanding what brings you joy. At this stage, protecting that peace is not just acceptable, it's essential. It's important to remember that distance doesn't always mean complete disconnection. Sometimes it means limiting your availability, shortening visits, or choosing not to engage in certain topics. Other times it might mean letting go entirely. Trust your instincts. You'll know when someone is taking more than they give. And when that happens, you have every right to create space. As you move forward, focus on relationships that lift you up. Spend time with those who listen with respect, speak with kindness, and value your presence. Life is too short to keep company with people who don't treat you with dignity. By keeping your distance from disrespect, you're not just protecting yourself, you're making room for something better.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
5th, hold your head high. There's a quiet but powerful message in the way we carry ourselves, especially in the face of disrespect. Holding your head high doesn't just reflect confidence, it declares self-respect. As we age, the temptation to shrink in response to dismissive remarks, ageist attitudes, or being ignored can be strong. But how we respond in those moments sets the tone for how others treat us. When someone disrespects you, you don't need to argue or explain. Simply standing tall, making eye contact, and continuing on with grace can speak volumes. I once attended a community event where a younger man made a passing comment about how outdated some of the older folks were. It was clearly meant as a joke, but it wasn't funny. I could have called him out or taken offense. Instead, I smiled gently, stood up straighter, and continued the conversation with someone else, as if his words had no impact on me. And they didn't, because I knew his words said more about him than about me. I didn't allow his ignorance to make me feel small. That moment reminded me that dignity is a choice we make, moment by moment, in how we carry ourselves through the world. When you hold your head high, you let others know that you value yourself, regardless of how they see you. It doesn't matter if someone thinks your ideas are old-fashioned or your stories are too long. What matters is that you know your worth. And the more you walk through life with that kind of assurance, the more others begin to see it too. Confidence is magnetic. It encourages others to treat you with the same respect you show yourself. This doesn't mean pretending to be unaffected by hurtful words. It means not giving those words power over your identity. You've lived a full life, with lessons learned, challenges overcome, and wisdom gained. That deserves to be honored, not minimized. And the first person who should honor it is you. Every time you choose to stand tall instead of reacting, you reclaim your power. You send a message to those around you and to yourself that your value isn't up for debate, that you belong in every room you walk into, and your presence carries weight. The older we get, the more important it becomes to model this strength, not only for ourselves but for the generations behind us. When they see us walking with our heads held high, they learn what dignity looks like. So the next time someone tries to diminish you, straighten your shoulders, look forward, and continue on with pride. Let your poise be your response. Let your presence speak louder than their words. Because when you carry yourself with grace, the world begins to treat you with the reverence you've always deserved. 6. Teach people how to treat you. One of the most powerful lessons you can learn in your later years is this. People will often treat you the way you allow them to. That's not to say it's your fault if someone is rude or dismissive, but it does mean you have more influence than you may think. Teaching people how to treat you isn't about being forceful or confrontational. It's about calmly, clearly, and consistently showing others what you will and won't accept. It's about setting boundaries that protect your time, your peace, and your dignity. Respect isn't always automatic. It often needs to be modeled. And that modeling starts with you. When someone interrupts you mid-sentence, don't just smile and let it pass. Instead, say, "Please let me finish. I'd like to share this." When a family member shows up unannounced again and again, kindly but firmly, let them know you need a heads up next time. When a friend pokes fun at something important to you, respond with, "I'd appreciate it if you didn't joke about that." These aren't acts of aggression. They're acts of self-respect. And over time, they train others to treat you accordingly. Years ago, I had a neighbor who frequently dropped by without calling. At first, I didn't mind, but after a while, it became disruptive. One afternoon, I was in the middle of reading and sipping tea when the doorbell rang again. That's when I realized something had to change. The next time I saw them, I said, "I enjoy our visits, but it helps me to know in advance. Would you mind giving me a call first next time?" They nodded, and to my surprise, they honored that request. That simple exchange made a world of difference. It reminded me that people often don't know your boundaries until you express them. The key is consistency. You don't have to repeat yourself over and over. You don't have to raise your voice. You just have to be firm. If someone continues to overstep your boundaries after you've expressed them clearly, that's a sign they're not respecting you. And it may be time to step back from that relationship, but most people, when spoken to with calm confidence, will listen and adjust. They just need the guidance. As we grow older, our needs shift. We may require more rest, more time alone, or more space to reflect. Honoring those needs isn't selfish, it's healthy. And by standing up for yourself in small ways, you make it easier for others to follow your lead. In doing so, you create a life that reflects your values and respects your worth. So the next time someone crosses a line, speak up. Gently, clearly, and without apology. Show them how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. Over time, you'll notice the respect you give yourself echoed back in the way others respond. 7. Remember, respect starts with you. At the heart of every interaction, every boundary set, and every moment of standing tall lies a profound truth. Respect starts with you. As we move into the later chapters of life, it's easy to focus on how others treat us. And yes, it matters when someone disregards your voice, overlooks your presence, or speaks to you as though your years have lessened your value. But long before others can truly respect you, you must first respect yourself. That inner foundation becomes the standard by which others learn to treat you. Self-respect isn't about ego or pride. It's about honoring your own needs, listening to your gut, and knowing when to say no. It's in choosing rest when you're tired, asking for help when you need it, and not apologizing for putting your health and peace first. It's in how you speak to yourself, how you care for your body, and how you choose relationships that feel safe, encouraging, and kind. I learned this the hard way in my early 70s. I found myself constantly agreeing to things I didn't want to do, watching my grandchildren every weekend, saying yes to dinner invites I didn't have the energy for, and volunteering for events that left me exhausted. I told myself I was being helpful, but deep down, I felt worn out and taken for granted. It wasn't until I sat down and asked, if I truly respected myself, what would I do differently, that things started to change. Slowly, I began saying no, not out of spite, but out of self-care. I started valuing my time as much as I valued everyone else's. And something beautiful happened. The people around me adjusted. They began asking instead of assuming. They started showing more appreciation. Because I respected myself, they did too. Respecting yourself also means letting go of guilt. It means knowing that you are not selfish for having boundaries or for wanting space. You've spent a lifetime caring for others, children, spouses, aging parents, co-workers. Now it's your turn. You deserve to move through the world with grace, free from the pressure to explain your every move or tolerate disrespect in silence. People watch how you treat yourself. If you downplay your needs, accept poor treatment, or stay silent when hurt, others will assume it's okay to treat you that way. But when you carry yourself with quiet assurance, when you speak kindly to yourself, honor your needs, and walk with dignity, you give others a blueprint. You teach them that you expect respect, not because you demand it, but because it's who you are. So ask yourself today, am I treating myself the way I want others to treat me? If the answer is no, begin again, one small choice at a time, because the respect you give yourself sets the stage for everything else in your life, and at this stage, you've earned a life built on nothing less.
If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 7 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward.
8. Don't take it personally. It's not about you. One of the most freeing lessons we can learn as we age is that not everything people say or do is a reflection of us. Often, it's a reflection of their own inner struggles, insecurities, or lack of self-awareness. This is especially true when dealing with disrespect. If someone snaps at you, makes a rude comment, or dismisses your opinion, it's easy to internalize it and wonder, did I do something wrong? But in most cases, their behavior says far more about them than it ever will about you. Letting go of the urge to take things personally can protect your peace, your mood, and your self-esteem. Think about how much time in life you've spent feeling hurt over someone else's words, comments that were careless, unkind, or simply insensitive. When we're younger, we tend to carry those wounds more deeply, but as we get older, we begin to see the bigger picture. That impatient clerk at the grocery store? Maybe they're struggling with something we can't see. That dismissive relative who never calls back? Perhaps they're caught in their own world of stress or emotional immaturity. Recognizing that their actions are not about you allows you to release the emotional burden and move forward without letting it fester. I remember once having lunch with someone I'd known for years. As I shared a personal story from my youth, they glanced at their phone and responded with a flat, "That's nice." At first I felt embarrassed, even a bit angry. But then I paused. I realized this person had always struggled to be present and warm in conversations. It wasn't just with me, it was with everyone. That moment of clarity changed how I felt. I stopped feeling small and started feeling grateful for the awareness, for the ability to step back, and for the peace that followed. Not taking things personally doesn't mean you accept bad behavior. It means you put it in perspective. You draw a mental boundary that protects your emotional space. You can still stand up for yourself, set limits, and make clear what you expect. But you don't have to carry their negativity home with you or let it disturb your peace. This shift in mindset takes practice, but it gets easier with time. Every time you remind yourself, "This isn't about me," you give yourself permission to breathe, to detach, and to stay grounded. As older adults, we've earned that right. We've carried enough over the years. Now it's time to let go of what was never ours to carry in the first place. So the next time someone is unkind, take a step back. Breathe. Remind yourself of your worth and don't let their bad moment become your burden. You've got too much wisdom, grace, and joy in you to be weighed down by someone else's shadows. 9. Surround yourself with people who see your worth. As we get older, we begin to understand something that takes many people a lifetime to learn. The quality of your relationships matters far more than the quantity. One of the most important things you can do to protect your peace and happiness in later life is to surround yourself with people who genuinely respect, value, and uplift you. These are the people who listen when you speak, who show up when you need them, and who never make you feel like a burden or an afterthought. They don't question your decisions or criticize your pace. They honor your presence and appreciate your story. After 65, every moment becomes more precious. You've already spent a lifetime navigating relationships, some that blossomed, others that withered. Now is the time to choose your company wisely, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. If someone consistently makes you feel small, exhausted, or unimportant, it's okay to step back. Instead, pour your time and energy into the people who bring warmth into your life. Those who greet you with a smile, who ask how you're feeling and truly want to hear the answer. Who make space for your stories, and who see your wisdom as something to be cherished. I once had a friend who, no matter what, always found something negative to say. I could share a happy update, and she'd respond with a warning or a worry. I stayed close for years out of habit and guilt. But over time, I realized how drained I felt after every visit. One day, I made a quiet decision to invest in the people who made me feel better, not worse. I reconnected with an old neighbor who always made me laugh. I called a cousin who loved reminiscing about our shared childhood. Those conversations left me smiling, not second-guessing myself. It was like a breath of fresh air. You deserve relationships that feel safe and nourishing. This doesn't mean people must be perfect, but they should make you feel valued, heard, and supported. When someone truly respects you, they won't belittle your experiences, overlook your words, or make you question your worth. They will celebrate you, not tolerate you. Creating this circle of respect doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it means letting go of long-standing relationships that no longer serve you. Other times, It means making the first move, calling someone you admire, joining a community group, or simply sitting next to someone new at church or a senior center. The right people will recognize your light and reflect it back. At this stage of life, let kindness be your filter and peace be your guide. Choose connection over obligation and joy over drama. The company you keep can either weigh you down or lift you higher. So choose wisely. You've earned the right to spend your days surrounded by people who see your worth and remind you of it every chance they get. Throughout our later years, the greatest lesson we can embrace is that true respect and inner peace begin within ourselves. By choosing silence over reactive replies, we protect our calm and deny negativity the reaction it craves. A steady, quiet gaze can speak volumes more than words, reminding others and reminding ourselves of our unshakable dignity. We don't owe explanations for the choices that honor our well-being. Brief, confident answers preserve our energy and confirm our right to live on our own terms. When necessary, a gentle but firm boundary teaches others how to treat us, and stepping back from draining relationships makes room for those who uplift and value us. Above all, never take another's rudeness personally. It reflects their struggles, not our worth. Throughout it all, holding our heads high signals unwavering self-respect, and surrounding ourselves with kindred spirits nourishes our hearts. These 9 guiding principles: silence, the silent stare, concise answers, healthy distance, clear boundaries, inner confidence, self-respect, perspective, and supportive company, form a roadmap to living with grace, wisdom, and tranquility. In applying them, we transform moments of disrespect into opportunities to reinforce our value and protect the peace we've earned.
Thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today, how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue to create great content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.